He's tasting of Skellig 618. We are running a little bit behind schedule, but we should be up and running in the next few minutes. So do please bear with us, and we will see you shortly. Thanks.
Let us know if you're there. Can you hear us? If anyone can hear us, give us a thumbs up. Oh, there's nobody in it yet.
So now, what we'll do is we'll are you?
I can sit there.
Are you okay sitting there?
Yeah, it'll be absolutely fine. I'll just move my stuff. Brian, I will be less useless to you next time. Now that it's just a first on all these.
You've been thrown in at the very end, and it's
Okay, there's nobody on, nobody in. I think we're in. I need to test somebody to get somebody to. Oh, you can test on your phone.
No, we're good. We're good. We're online.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, cool.
Now, before you go,
Yeah.
what level of battery do you have? You have plenty of battery.
I charged before I came in. I charged while I was here. So this is.
And I have a power bank if you need it, but you're plugged into that. So okay.
Well, yeah, that's plugged into this because there's the only way to. But
Yeah.
okay, we should be fine. I can see clear now. The rain has gone. Yeah, Matt's gonna go. You bloody idiot! What are you doing? Tommy's
No,
gonna go. Alex is gonna go. Could you like come in?
Yeah, but look,
I don't like not being an answer.
we're on.
You're right. Good point.
Stuff. The stage now.
Yeah, we started and did then.
Yeah, we started the meeting, exactly. Yeah, you know, crowd in because.
Grand review. I don't have the ability to check everyone in. I'm trusting you all. So, Nick, you're in charge. Thanks very much. We're down about a dozen people on the house.
Thank you, Church.
That's good?
Yeah.
Excellent choice.
The free seats here? Yes, indeed. Very good. Oh, where's my name?
I'll keep one for Lee.
Hey, Lee. Hey, very good. What's here?
That's what you call a fucking touch.
I was actually half an hour ago, and I was trying to pop in and see if I didn't need the hand or all, but I was thinking myself, no, they probably have everything under control.
We were walking around the bottom of the max. Oh yeah, we have people online now, Brian, so good stuff. Folks are online, we're a couple of minutes late, but we're getting going there. Okay, thanks. If you can hear us, give us a thumbs up, give us a reaction.
Keane. Yeah, exciting. No, I know. I've been there. You had the trains from Wales. You had the trains from Wales, I think. Because without that, I usually go down. When did Skellig start? It's still in the yard. We asked already.
Oh yeah, it's spot on there. Yeah, you want me to keep it in the frame, you don't want me to. Francis, I'm a man for a wander,
I can move around.
but no, you don't, like, the main thing is that everyone can hear me.
So many people can hear us.
That's the main thing, like if I'm out of frame for 30 seconds and they can still hear me, that's all that really matters, you know, isn't it?
They're not going to see your branding on their shirt.
They know who we are, or hope to know who we are at this stage. They've joined the Skellig live stream.
Folks online, can you all hear us? Shout if you can.
Is that sound coming through? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I know my numbers. 1, 2, 3.
Can't hear you, no. The answer is no on the hearing.
No.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Okay, works.
Perfect.
Not my hearing aid.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
The hush in the house.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The flight to over Fab, specifically we are flight to over. And quite enough. Hi folks, I'm Brian O'Donoghue. Very welcome to this tasting. Sorry we're running a few minutes late, and sorry for folks online that we're a few minutes late, but we have 7 whiskies lined up for you this evening, and I'm delighted to be joined by Cathal O'Connor from Skellig 618, who's going to talk us through the Skellig core range and also a deconstruction of those whiskies. So I'm just going to hand over to Cathal and he'll lead the way.
Great.
Thanks a lot, Cathal.
Thank you very much, Breen. Thank you very much for that, Breen, and thank you very much, all of you guys, for joining tonight in person and online as well. Privileged that people will come out and listen to me on a Thursday night. You know, it's good going, so fair play to you for coming out. As Breen mentioned, my name is Cathal O'Connor. I'm the commercial manager from the Skellig 618 distillery. I joined the Skellig team in June of 2020, and Skellig 618 launched in December of 2019. So I've been pretty much with the guys from day one now of having a gin only that we could sell at that time in off licenses or at the distillery on its own, a visitor centre where you could do tours, but you had to stand 10 kilometres away from the person that was next to you, to now having 7 fantastic whiskies on the table, being widely available in Ireland and available in several export markets. So I've seen a lot of the journey that an independent distillery goes on from the beginning to development. So if you guys have any questions on that journey, I'd love to ask them tonight and brought them out tonight, because that's kind of what we want to show with this deconstruction tasting is what are we as a small independent growing distillery, what challenges are we facing, how are we getting to the liquids that are on your table or on the back bar or on the shop shelf, and all of those various processes. So if you guys have questions on that, love to answer them. Before Skellig, I worked with Beams and Tory, so Kilbeggan, Tyrconnell and Connemara Irish Whiskey in the US in Massachusetts for a couple of years. I did some time up in the Jameson brand home in Bow Street. Probably need to pick a better word and did some time up there. It was a great experience, and that's where I got my grounding in the whiskey industry and how I'm here today. So yeah, Skellig 618. We've got 7 whiskies on the table this evening. How our tasting is going to go, we're going to split it into 4 and 3, so the top line and then the bottom line of your tasting mats. We will not shoot you at the back of the room. I see that over there. So yeah, the Skellig small batch, with that in mind, this is a blended Irish whiskey and the liquid comes from the West Cork distillery. Okay, so in December 2022, that's when we first released our whiskey. We sourced this from West Cork, ex-bourbon barrels. We finish it off in Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. Every single drop goes through Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. And the process we followed was we wanted this to be, we did some experimentation and we found around the 3.5 year mark. 3 years in ex-bourbon barrels, 6 months in Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. We felt that was sufficient for the flavour profile we wanted to get from an entry-level Irish whiskey, which is, that word that's used a lot, a smoothness, but also a little bit more complexity on the front of the palate. We felt we could get to that at 3.5 years. So with that first whiskey that we procured from West Cork for the 2022 release, we got that in the middle of 2022 at 3 years old. For the 2023 release, we sourced 2-year-old whiskey in 2022. For 2024 releases, we had 1-year-old whiskey in 2022. For 2025 release, we got new make, right? And that's our process, is that we're constantly procuring new whiskey from West Cork in the case of the small batch. So for this year, we've got in New Make Spirit, which will be our small batch release in 2028. So that's our process. We're going for a very, uniform and balanced flavour profile across those years. So if you taste a Skellig small batch that was released in December 2022, it will be a very, very, very close match to what you're tasting today. And that's testament to our blending team. We've got a team of 2 down at the distillery, 2 Stevens, Stephen Strain and Stephen Donoghue. And that's what they're working on, is making sure that all our whiskies maturing in a balanced fashion, and that when it comes to blending, that our blend, using different aged whiskey that spent different time in Cork or different time in Carrickfergus, that's matching up to what we originally released. So 3 years in ex-bourbon barrels, 6 months in the Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. Again, pretty smooth on the back end. I find it's a nice, pleasant, slightly, sweet and a little bit oily palate. So that is the Skellig small batch. It's 40% ABV. Retail at €45 on shelf, and we will discount this down to 35 at times in the likes of Super Value or Tesco to try and get it out there, but generally sits at 40. I would look at this as an easy sipping whiskey. I would call this like it was actually our previous production manager, Sean Foran. He would call this his Monday to Friday whiskey. So when he was sitting down after work on Monday to Friday, but he still had a load of homework to do, and he wanted an easy sipping, dram that he didn't have to think too much about, that it was really pleasant, this is what he would go for. Mixes pretty well in cocktails too, old fashions, whiskey highball. I love this in a Slim Jim glass filled with ice, 1 measure, soda water, porter soda water, and a slice of orange. Just a really pleasant, easy drinking cocktail.
One question.
Yes,
Is it a blended malt or?
it is a blend of pot still and grain. So our blend is 80% grain and 20% pot still, and that's uniform across the range on Skellig small batch. Our plan when we come to distill is to be a pot still house. So we're setting up a plant that will be specialised in producing pot still Irish whiskey. So we wanted to kind of set our stall out from day one by having pot still in the blend. That's why our distillery exclusives are all pot still whiskies as well.
Sorry, where does the grain from?
The grain all from West Cork. Yeah, so every drop of this liquid comes from West Cork. And as I said, how we're putting our stamp on it is how long it spends in Cahersiveen. So the very, very first release would have spent 6 months in the Pedro Jimenez sherry casks in Cahersiveen. As soon as it arrived from West Cork, we put it into PX. And as the years progress, the whiskey is spending longer and longer maturing in Cahersiveen. And we are finding it's making quite a difference. I don't know, has anybody here visited Skellig 618 distillery before? Great. Like, how would you describe the building? A warehouse. That's the word from the back. It's a warehouse. So what our building... You're only doing gin at a time, and I can tell you, not much has changed, in terms of the structure of that building. What our building is it's, do you know Wilson, the tennis brand? Yeah? So they used to have a sock factory in Cahersiveen, believe it or not. The IDA, their development plan in the 80s and 90s was to build industrial plants in rural parts of Ireland and give tax breaks for big companies to come in. So they built a 40,000 square foot facility in Cahersiveen, and Wilson were, making socks out of there and sending these socks from Cahersiveen all around the world. It was one of the most scenic journeys that their fulfillment trucks had to take, was coming around the Ring of Kerry in the 90s. So that was the building that we're in. The sock factory closed down in the early 2000s, and it was taken over by one of our current founders, Pat Chuckrew. And Pat's a local man. He'd worked as an accountant with Wilson. He took over the lease on the building and used it to store boats. So the boats that go out to Skellig Michael, they only go out there between May and September of every year. Outside of that period, it's too rough to get out to Skellig Michael, so it's used to store the boats in our building. So it was boat storage then from the early 2000s through until 2018 when we moved into the building. We did not put much work into insulating that building, into sealing that building. I work remotely. I'm based up in Castleknock because it's just too far to be in Cahersiveen and then going visiting customers around the country. But when I do go to Cahersiveen, be it in summertime or in the wintertime, I'm sitting in that building with a space heater between my knees because there's always a breeze blowing off the Atlantic and it is gusting through that building. So there's a fantastic climate in that room and in that building for prompting interaction between whiskey and wood. So we are finding that as the years progress and that West Cork liquid is spending more time in Cahersiveen, it's taking on more of our character. Any more questions, guys, on the small batch Irish whiskey?
The first fill PX?
That's a really good question. So we'll vary it up. We'll work first fill and we'll work second fill. The whiskey you have at the moment is a second fill, so it's gotten to 6 months with finish. Generally with a first fill, we'll kind of go up to 3 or 4 months will be sufficient. We've used different sizes of sherry barrels as well. We've used 200 litre casks that have held sherry. We've used 500 litre sherry butts. And we have landed on just sticking with the 200 litre casks for a very simple reason, an independent small distillery problem. We don't have a forklift. We don't have a forklift. So the 500 litre.
3 pot stills you're not using, but you don't have a forklift.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's Kerry logic. How the pot stills are put into the building without a forklift was that we got the telehandler from Quirks up the road, and he came down in a very blustery Atlantic day put the pot stills in the building, and then left with his teleprompter. So if we ever need a forklift, for getting big orders out, like you're talking about big, heavy pallet, we call them, they'll come down with a forklift, or we've got the hand pallet truck. But on the day-to-day running of the distillery and having the 500-litre sherry butts, when they were filled, they were impossible for the guys to move around without a forklift. And when you're filling sherry barrels and moving barrels around warehouses, you need a forklift on site. So that was the reason why we've landed on a 200-litre sherry cask being ideal for us, is quite simply a logistical piece. A forklift is an expensive piece of kit. When you,
You're not stacking these high.
we're not stacking these high, We are using really the full extent of the 40,000 square foot. It's a lovely walk around the building, but they're some of the small. Yeah, look, we've got our head tour guide. He's also called Cathal, but he's around 1.5 foot taller than me, so he's well to push the barrels around, and doesn't mind it. It takes him away from other work. But yeah, that's a small challenge that we're looking at. We said, hey, look, what do we get in a forklift? And we did up the maths of how many bottles of Skellig small batch would we have to sell on a shop shelf to get to a forklift? And it's an extortionate number of them. So it's like, right, do we get a forklift, or do we pay for somebody who could help us to sell this product in X, Y, and Z markets? And it's like, we got wages to pay. The forklift ain't going to pay wages. So that's kind of where we got to on the sherry barrels.
And then are you maturing grain pot still in bourbon and then vatting and finishing, or are you finishing separately?
We are finishing separately at the moment with the Skellig small batch. So it'll very much be like we've got the pot still on one side, the grey on the other side, and then we're putting all the pots into PX sherry barrels today, putting all the grain in PX sherry barrels today, and then at the very, very end, just blend everything up. Cool. What are our thoughts in general, guys, on the Skellig small batch? Do we enjoy that? Yeah. I think it's a nice, easygoing entry whiskey. And folks that are watching from at home, I've got the live stream here in front of me as well. So if you want to type in any questions when we take these little stops, I'll have a check my comments and can address them. Yeah, I'm be able to read them as well. It's really weird looking at myself with a delay. Like I said those words 5 seconds ago. So guys, second whiskey then of the evening, I suppose. Our Skellig triple cask single pot still Irish whiskey. So we brought this guy out alongside Skellig small batch in December of 2019. The liquid you have in the Skellig single pot still at the moment is West Cork Distillery liquid. This expression, though, it started out as Great Northern Distillery. So when we first released a single pot still, it was G&D in 2022. It was G&D in 2023. And then we switched this over to West Cork in 2024 and onwards. What we're doing is we're maturing in ex-bourbon barrels for at least 5 years. And then we're transferring between 90 and 80% of the liquid to Pedro Jimenez sherry casks, and then the corresponding 10 to 20% to ex-peated Scotch casks. And we finish it in those for, again, between 3 to 6 months, and then we marry together to create the finished product. And we'll taste those individual components later on this evening. So yeah, a pretty easygoing, typical single pot still Irish whiskey. Nice spice on the palate. The PX sweetness comes through, and we just wanted to get the slightest touch of peat coming through on this liquid. 43% is what we bottle this at. Retails on shelf for €65. As you're enjoying that dram, I'll tell you a little bit about just Skellig 618 and where the brand name and that comes from. So, as I say, we're based in Cartersveen on the Ring of Kerry. So, as many of you are aware, we've got this fantastic rock, Skellig Michael, which is just off the end of our peninsula. So, there's some kind of flyers on your tables, guys, and you can see on the front cover a little picture of Skellig Michael, or if you have a quick Google of it at home, it'll pop straight up. So, Skellig Michael is just off our coast. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. There's a monastery on the very, very top of the rock, and to get to that monastery there are 618 steps from the very, very bottom of the rock to the very, very top of the rock. So that's where the Skellig and 618 name came from. It's a really, really important feature in our local area. So, you know, it brings so many tourists to the area, and tourists are kind of the lifeblood of South County Kerry. You've got a lot of science work going on out there, monitoring bird colonies. You've got Skellig Michael, which is the larger rock. You've got Skellig Bjug as well, which is the Skellig rock beside it. That's the largest colony of gannets in the Northern Hemisphere, I believe. So you've got people out there studying that. You had some movies, Star Wars, that were filmed out there. So you've got deep water out there that's fished in. So much life revolves around the Skellig. So we wanted to capture them in our brand name in some shape or form. And we felt the 618 steps was a great way to do that. 618 steps, if you imagine it, there was monks that went to the end of the peninsula, the Iveragh Peninsula. They looked out at this mountain in the ocean and they said, right, that's a good place to go and live, right? And for scale, if you have a look at, I know the guys at home don't have this exact picture, but if you have a look at your flyer and you look at the bottom left-hand corner, you can see a boat that you go out on. So for scale, like you can imagine, you can see how small that boat is. You can barely see it. Like when you go out to Skellig Michael, I've been on that rock once, you're genuinely coming to a mountain. You're just looking at this huge edifice. And again, the monks went out there in their currachs or whatever, into the wild Atlantic Ocean and said, right, yeah, this is still a really good place to go and live. And they disembarked on this jagged rock, which didn't have a harbour at the time, and they made a home out of it. And they hand-carved 618 steps in the rock. It's an extraordinary demonstration of resilience, of character, of hard work. And we feel that, I suppose, the people of South County Kerry, it's not the easiest place in the world to live. They demonstrate similar qualities of hard work, perseverance, and of character every day. And we all do in our day-to-day lives. We might not do things as extraordinary as going and carving, steps into a jagged rock, but every day we're all doing really, really special things that are, achievements for ourselves. So we wanted to capture those with the 618 steps, I suppose, as a symbol and a nod to those journeys that we all go on. If you do ever get a chance to visit Skellig Michael, I highly recommend it. It is an extraordinary, extraordinary place. It's one of the few places, kind of tourist attractions that I visited, where I stood at the top at the very end and was like genuinely lost for words. Like my first reaction wasn't to take out my phone and take pictures. I was just, wow, there was just something truly magnificent about the place. So if you do get a chance to visit it, between May and September is the time. You've got to book it a couple of months in advance. And it's also a great privilege to get out there because the way it works is if there's any bit of swell in the ocean at all, which there's a lot of swells in the ocean down there, the tours will just be cancelled for the day. So your boat tour will not go out to Skellig Michael. And because it's all booked out months in advance, when your tour is cancelled, you're not getting rebooked to the next day. You're being told, look, you've got to wait till next summer. Come back and try again. So when you get that chance to get out there, it really is a true privilege So yeah, something I definitely recommend doing. And then when you're coming back from Skellig, Michael, you can stop into Carsveen. You can visit the Skellig 16 Distillery visitor experience, and you can drink some fantastic whiskey. So guys, any thoughts on the Skellig triple cask single pot still Irish whiskey?
Online, they're telling us tastes like nice apple burb vanilla tart.
Whoever's making those comments can do some tasting notes for me. Yeah, I get some. I get lovely orange off, orange rind and orange citrus off it. I'm not the biggest guy for tasting notes, but it's just one of the few ones that does stand out.
There's a certain there are some similarities with the small batch, so to speak. Is it the same liquid originally?
Yeah, well, like it would be, say, the single pot still whiskey that's in the Skellig small batch. That would be the same single pot still that's used in here. Just there's no grain whiskey added in. We're using the same PX sherry barrels, so we would hope they do share some of the same DNA. Good, good. Yeah, because as I kind of described that the small batch was our Monday, Sean Foran's Monday to Friday whiskey. This would be his Saturday and Sunday whiskey. A bit more time to sit down and really enjoy a dram. This is what he was.
And how big part is the sherry cask matured versus the ex-peat cask matured?
Really good question. So we've got a really good question here, guys, on the breakdown between the sherry barrels and the ex-peated Scotch casks. So when we first did our release, the 2020, using Great Northern Distillery liquid, we went 80% Pedro Jimenez sherry to 20% ex-peated Scotch, right? We had a flavour profile in mind that we wanted to land on, and we felt that was the breakdown, you know, between Great Northern maturation and the finishing time in Carsveen that got us. They're very confusing in South Kerry. Don't spend too much time down there. They'll change everything you think about life.
And you don't have bottles of that? That's not bottled?
This is not bottled, no.
Will you?
No, we'll never bottle this, I'm afraid. No, it's not something that we feel we'd want to bottle. So for us, when we're bottling stuff, we wanted to sell on shelf. And we feel if we put this on shelf for the general consumer, it doesn't work for the general consumer. It works for guys in here, people in here who drink their whiskey, but for the end consumer, the general regular whiskey drinker, it's just too much for them. You know.
Has this been in bourbon first?
So ex-bourbon for 5 years,
Okay.
and then the ex-peated for 3 to 6 months. You had a question there?
It's not peated, the liquid that's called peated.
No. So it's only the barrel was held ex-peated Scotch whiskey.
And this is only been in the Scotch casks for 3 to 6 months?
Exactly, yeah.
Is it West Cork?
This is in this liquid here, yeah, it's West Cork. So what we've got here, the deconstruction liquid is exactly what Stephen would have for the bottle. So what's bottled right now is West Cork liquid. So you've got West Cork liquid in the PX and ex-peated. What I find is fascinating to me is when I taste this whiskey, when I nose it, I don't pick up peat on the nose at all. Like, does anybody else kind of get that? You don't pick up? It's very, very slight. But then when you taste it, it reminds me quite a bit of actually drinking Lefroy, you know?
Just for our online people, there was a bit of a breakup in the connection. Can you just give a really quick, 10-second recap on what this is?
Yeah, spot on. This is the component of the single pot still whiskey that was matured in the ex-peated Scotch casks. So for this section of the tasting, we'll run through the ex-peated Scotch part and the PX part, and I suppose you can see the challenge that Stephen Strahan and Stephen Dunhu have to get to the bottled liquid.
Thank you.
Welcome. Like, we found both liquids are fantastic. Like, they're both great base whiskies, and our challenge with them is just getting the bullseye flavor profile. Like, whiskey is chemistry, so what we're finding when it comes to when it comes to the maturation is that like the amount of time West Cork liquid needs in a Pedro Menes sherry barrel to get the flavour profile could be slightly different to what a Great Northern liquid does.
But do you think the end product tastes comparable between the two?
Oh, we think that they're completely different whiskies when they come in, you know, when they come into us. And it is through the work of the two Stevens and the barrels and the Catersevine climate that gets us to a finished product that's the same flavour profile. So if you found a Skellig triple cask single pot still that was released in 2022, that was Great Northern, and you tasted it against what you have now, which is West Cork, they're really similar. They're really, really similar. We did this exercise a couple of weeks ago when we were working on this current release. Like we keep a couple of cases of the original liquid in Catersevine to allow us to taste the original liquid and then taste what we're blending up right now to make sure there's kind of shared DNA and we're on the same path. So even though they come from different source, the end profile is the same, and that comes down to say slightly, longer, slightly shorter finishes, and the change in the ratios of the cask finishes. Any more questions on that one, guys?
Just the front thing, do these distilleries have like a network of, we'll have your next cask or your next?
We just like being quite basic on it. We're just working with different cask brokers. So whatever cask broker has casks that we can use, we will work with them. We're sherry casks only. So 5 years next bourbon, 3 to 6 months in the Pedro Menes sherry casks. And again, at 50% ABV to kind of bring it closer to what the two Stevens are tasting when they're doing their blending work.
And where's the PX cask coming from?
The PX casks are coming from whatever supplier we can get them at the time. We don't have a relationship like specifically with any particular bodega. It is again, hey, broker X has sherry casks from bodega, we take it, and then we've got to make that sing again. So another example of Stevens working their magic to match flavor profile.
How many times do you use a PX cask?
We use it twice at most. Yeah, twice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We find after the second time having Skellig whiskey in it, it's just not imparting enough at all.
And can it go back to a bodega then?
Well, we'll as I said to the guys around, go to our broker then, and when we're ordering our next batch, we might say to them, hey, we've got 10 sherry barrels that are be rejuvenated. We don't have the facility to do that. Do you want to take those? Would you cut us a little discount if we could send them out? So they're the kind of things that we're doing.
A lot of this with beer producers use X whiskey casks, and whiskey producers use X beer casks, X this. So it seems to be a way to carry another genre, if you like.
Yeah, so for us, like we kind of go through the hub of the broker, and then they'll know, hey, these are people looking for it. So we're a pretty small team, we're like 10 on the team. So if we get into the weeds of like, hey, what beer producer could do with a wine finished barrel, I'm spending my time building the next beer, not selling Skellig.
Have you had any instances of sherry producers proclaiming the benefits of your whiskey?
Translations are a slight hat tip to Star Wars, but more so a nod to the fact that you're no further one generation removed from fishermen in Catersevine, and they'd have used those stars to navigate. And actually, we're also located in what's called the Gold Tier International Dark Sky Reserve. So there's an organisation who go around and rate the quality of the night sky based off how many stars you can see in a clear night. In Catersevine, it's so isolated, so little light pollution, you can see the Milky Way. So we want to kind of nod that in the bottle too. So Star Wars is nice, you've got to pick your audiences who to talk to. American consumers in particular, it resonates quite a bit with them. Yeah. Like you can't build your brand on being, Star Wars whiskey. So you never know where Star Wars is going to go next.
No plans for lightsabers on the branding,
No plans for lightsabers or limited edition Stormtrooper helmet bottles or nothing like that. Plastic glasses, yeah. Ready for break, you are,
So, folks, we're going to take a short break. It's now 8:25. Let's come back at in 10 minutes' time at 25 to 9. Sorry, 25 to 9, and continue with the next 3. Thanks very much.
My experience is that 50%.
Can you just, sorry, maybe to interrupt you there, because we
So we'll go with this. We will have no audio components, or I try Bluetooth. I could try Bluetooth connections. This is the half 6 problem.
Yeah, let's just keep going with this. And
Yes, no, fair. Thank you for I would be having conniptions right now if it wasn't for you. Like, it's, you know what I mean? In a year's time, I'll be going, yeah. Just put that up in front of it. I could just. Or do I zoom out even more? Or just put this there, and I zoom in, and I move this. There you go. That's as good as we can do. I'm running the bathroom.
sound, fire ahead.
And that's plugged in, and that's plugged in, and that is charging. We're good.
No problem.
All we can do.
I would be saying no because I wouldn't mind refilling the water.
I was red, I was blue.
I'm worried about whether higher or I don't think it's high. Has to have something in it. That's the guy that should be out of car speed. Oh, sure, tell me about it. We got hit with everything that could happen. If this is Nice. We'll plug this out. Plug this out. Plug this in. We do a retest.
Am I on? Yep.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. We're going to continue on with the next three whiskies in the lineup. So over to you, Cathal. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Rian. So guys, yeah, we will move on now to our distiller exclusive 2023 single pot still at 58.4%. So as I mentioned earlier, we've got a visitor experience. You can come down, you can do a tour, you can see the pot stills, you can see the gin stills, you can see the whiskey maturing, you can be shown around by a real Kerry man. It's a really cool, authentic tour down there. And for that, we do a distillery exclusive release every summer in limited numbers. So this was our very, very first one. We released it in June of 2023. And what we did basically was we took the Skellig triple cask single pot still, the exact same ratios of PX to ex-peated casks, the exact same age, and we just said, let's bottle this off at a cask strength. We'd done a Whiskey Society tasting down in Waterford, and we had the single pot still triple cask at cask strength as like a experimental whiskey for the evening to build out the tasting mat, and it was really, really enjoyed on the evening. So we said, hey, look, let's make this our first distillery exclusive. And what we love having it in this tasting for is that I suppose it gives you a chance to see what exactly does a higher ABV do to your palate here. Like we all taste cask strength whiskey, and a lot of us absolutely adore cask strength whiskey, but it's very rare where you have the exact whiskey at cask strength and at bottled ABV. Same sourced distillery, so this is all Great Northern liquid you've got here. The same amount of time in Carsavine, in the ex-bourbon barrels, the same amount of time in the finishing casks, the exact same finishing cask ratio. So like what happened was we got to the day of bottling a batch of the single pot still, and we said, okay, send X litres worth of the liquid to the right-hand side. That's going to say a cask strength. That's going to be bottled as a distillery exclusive. So if you do, I know I'm saying this a lot, if you still have any triple cask single pot still Irish whiskey left, the second whiskey you tasted on the evening, that can be a fun one to taste alongside this, so that you can compare exactly what your palate picks out and how your palate. I had a good question here on colour. That would explain, if you're looking at our whiskies and going, hey, these last two whiskies look darker than the Distillery Exclusive 2023. It's because this one is Ruby Port, the next one is Tawny Port. That's why they've got a richer colour. We do put or use caramel colouring in our small batch and our regular single pot still on shelf, because as I say, like the regular Joe Soap whiskey consumer who's buying a bottle of whiskey for their 3 grandkids at Christmas time, if they see 3 bottles of the same brand on shelf and they're slightly different colours, they think there's something wrong with it. They don't know why the colour might be different, they assume it's something wrong. So we do use caramel colouring in the small batch and single pot still for just consistency on shelf. Yes.
I think it is just put the trending down to the
Yeah, you could. And I would love to take that approach, but at the end of the day, it's a case of selling. But so the reason why we use the caramel colouring, right? And I'll argue this point until the cows come home, right? If it's on shelf in Super Value, for example, and you have Skellig small batch from a bottling in December 2024. And Skellig small batch from a bottling in February 2025, right? And if there's a different colour, to those two whiskies on shelf. I'm not going to take a chance there might be something wrong with the Skellig small batch. I'm not going to take a chance there might be something wrong with the Skellig small batch. They just grab the black barrel and they go. So that's our logic.
Yeah, but people who like whiskey and like brands, they're not going to go just on colour, because you can get whiskey that's the colour of gold and straw.
I know. I'm sorry to say, and maybe I'm sorry to say, or maybe it's right to say, you guys in here who really like whiskey and do tastings, you are in the minority. You are. I'm telling you, you are. I'll tell you another story, guys. So when I used to work with Kilbeggan, right? And I'd be in Massachusetts, and I'd step into, there was a chain of liquor stores in Massachusetts called Yankee Spirits, right? And Yankee Spirits used to do a big whiskey taste me, right? Whatever we do has to work for them. My first thing is I step up in the room and I go, okay guys, I'm Catal, because they can't say Cathal in America, right? And I go, my first question is, have any of you guys tasted Irish whiskey before, right? And 95% of the room say, no, never. And I go, have any of you guys tasted JMO before, right? And every single one of them goes, yeah, I love JMO. And I go, that's Irish whiskey. So there's an example of people who drink whiskey who don't even know what Irish whiskey is. So we have to, they've got a lot of history. They've got a lot of history built up of selling whiskey, and there's a lot of Scotch that does. So guys, the Skellig single pot still, the Distillery Exclusive 2024, Ruby port casks are between 3 and 6 months. Much sweeter flavour profile. That is the reason why this sells quicker than the 2023 Distillery Exclusive in the distillery, is because regular whiskey consumer comes through and they taste it and they go, sweet, right? And they grab the bottle and they run away with it, Quite dry in the finish? This guy retails at €90 on shelf. We've probably got around 60 or 70 bottles of this left. So, we actually started with more than we did of the Exclusive 2023. So, moving along well. I would expect we'll be finished with this. We'll be sold out by, maybe January or February next year. I would expect. €90. Do we prefer this to 2023 edition?
Kamala just said, if my wife would drink this, she would prefer this because she's not she's normal. She's a normal. She's a human.
That's it. It's one of those things, guys, that when it comes to working on flavor profile for regular consumer, sweet is something that works. I see somebody here is looking at our Dark Sky Reserve release. You might see, if you have a look at the Skellig Casino Distillery online, that we did a release of 22-year-old single malt Irish whiskey from Cooley. We bought in 2020, matured it on site, put in ex-bourbon barrels, did a fantastic bottle case, whole experience around the sales piece. Reels at €2,000 a bottle. And again, but this is an example of catering to a consumer, right? So where we're located in Catersevine, you've got Tralee Golf Club around an hour and a half away. You've got Ballybunion Golf Club around an hour and a half away. You've got Waterville Golf Club around 20 minutes away. That's 3 of the big 5 in golf. You got the big 5 in safari. The whatever. Lion, giraffe, rhino, hippo, elephant, right? You've got that in Irish golf now. It's like Tralee, Ballybunion, Waterville, not Druids Glen, no. The old Head of Kinsale, and Doombeg. Doombeg is the one that they're considering. They run around the helicopters of it. We also have Hogs Head Golf Club in Waterville. Hogs Head's a private members club. It's only Americans. They come over in the summer to play some golf. We would see these in the summertime. We know the Americans around because we see the helicopters going over the building all day long, right? When we bring them the Skellig Single Pot Still Irish Whiskey, right, at €65, they taste it and they think, that's nice whiskey. Do they buy it? No. Why don't they buy it? It's too cheap. Seriously. Irish, Ballybunion, I think it was Ballybunion or Tralee, one of those two golf clubs, they were struggling to get American golfers to come in and play around 20 years ago, right? They got a consultant in, and they said to the consultant, how can we get people in to play? We've got a fantastic golf course, and we're good value. And the consultant said, the problem is you've got good value. You're too cheap. If you increase your price to €300 a round, guaranteed they'll stop in. What happened? They're flooded with them. So that's one of the reasons why the Dark Sky is we present. Now, to be fair, the liquid's fantastic, the packaging, the bottle, the case, the glass. You get coasters that are hand carved from the Valencia Island quarry. Really, really cool thing. The price, again, targeting a consumer there, you got to win
The
with.
thing with that is that you can fund your distillery from these guys by these not necessarily very great whiskies, and then you don't have to increase the price on the good stuff, so we can buy that.
That's, yeah. That's a good point, yeah. Oh, we look. Sorry there. Sorry. Yeah, what's your name? I feel like, you know, our CFO, Patrick Grew, is going to get a notification on his phone. The security alarm is going off on Christmas Day, right? He's going to go down to the distillery and it's going to be Sinead with a forklift with a big bow on it. Being Happy Christmas. I heard you guys. Yeah. I heard you guys needed one. Okay, if you want to do that, guys, you suggested it, not me. Be part of the visitor experience, you know, do a tasting, drive a forklift, do the forklift before the tasting. Right, guys, we'll move on to our final whiskey of the evening here. Bottom right corner, Distillery Exclusive 2025. This is single pot still, finished off in tawny port cask. A singular tawny port cask. This will be our Distillery Exclusive 2025. We will launch this on the 26th of October this year. So every year on the October bank holiday weekend, we do what's called the Éineach Fuisce. So basically the whiskey fair. So we will invite in local food producers, local craft producers, local magicians and musicians to the distillery. We'll open up for free tours for the day. We'll put on cooking and cocktail demos, and we'll launch our special releases. So for the Éineach Fuisce this year, we'll launch this Distillery Exclusive 2025. This is at 59% ABV. It is West Cork liquid, so it was bought in from West Cork in 2022. It was 2 years old at the time. We matured it in ex-bourbon until the beginning of this year. And then we have some 15-year-old single grain whiskey from Cooley on site. We were maturing that in different finishing casks. We were doing limited release bottlings for export distributor customers and whiskey societies. We'd matured one of those single grains in a tawny in it, so we put the single pot still that was now 5 years old into it. And we left it in that cask until July of this year. So yeah, this is getting bottled probably tomorrow morning.
On the nose, this is lovely.
This is very nice whiskey. This is being bottled tomorrow morning. It'll be labelled tomorrow morning. We're just waiting for a little lock-up sticker. So how you differentiate, I'll pass a bottle around here. I know how much whiskey's left in these bottles, guys. I will find you if you drink it. But if you have a look at these bottles, right, you'll see, and I'll bring these up and I'll show the camera closer to the end. You've got our little lockup motif. It's one that has the stars in it. It's a barrel, and on the blend, it has got the components of the blend in it. I'll pass that up to the left, my left. The single pot still has the casks written on it. You can pass that along there and have a look. Then our distillery exclusive, what we do is we have a different lockup every year to mention exactly what the finishing casks were. So the 2023, you'll see that it mentions that we've used the PX and the XP, the Scotch casks, on the little white sticker. And on the 2024, it's got Ruby Port mentioned on it. So that is what we do to differentiate our distillery exclusives. And again, that is another way of trying to be commercially efficient as an independent distillery. So instead of doing a new run of 200 full labels every year for distillery exclusive, we just do a big run of the distillery exclusive general label, and then we can do small runs of really small stickers, and that saves, I could say, €4 or €5 on a bottle when it comes down to small runs like that.
I mean, the reality is you can play that as handcrafted, hand-labeled, hand-signed, handmade. Artisan. Correct.
Are you guys looking for a marketing job, are you?
This man wrote a book of brands. Just saying, the fact that you're independent, but you're not family, that's a shame. Family was great. Maybe you can become family. Handcrafted and handcrafted heritage.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exciting. That's more exciting maybe than the Skelligs itself as a rock, without that you're not connected to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got you, yeah.
There's another side to that story. The Skelligs is beautiful. But
It's a very simple concept, gone, yeah.
Has got two prongs on it. Which prong you stand on?
Yeah, I get you, yeah. Yep.
Because you are small, because you want to become.
It's real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah. No, I get where you're coming from. Yeah. You have a question as well?
Sorry, very quickly. Do you bottle yourself?
We do, yeah.
So you bottle on site?
We bottle on site. We label on site. We blend on site. We mature on site. We try not to drink on site that often, but yeah, we've got a bottling line on site. It's fascinating when tourists come through. You would think that pot stills and whiskey barrels are the part they really get excited to see. It's not. They love the bottling line. There's something about the symmetry of bottles moving down the line in the same direction, in the same order, the same speed, getting corks put into them. There's something about that just gets the tourists going. So they love seeing the bottling line. So yeah, every bottle, mature blend, bottled in Catersavine. We bottle more whiskey. We bottle more bottles of whiskey every month than there are people living in Catersavine, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good.
Thank you.
You guys should be proud of that. That's really good.
So I'll just, I've got these bottles here.
Where's the bottling line come from?
The bottling line came from Italy. So just to show camera here, this is our regular labels with the lockup on it, bourbon, PX, sherry, XP, the Scotch casks. And I will show you our distillery exclusive now in a second.
Ursa Major there as well, yeah?
Ursa Major there as well, yeah, to kind of, hat tip to Star Wars, and we'll get in there. You don't move, I'll move, Keane, right? You'll see this, the stars there's a hat tip to Star Wars, and stars in general, and the dark tier, gold tier Dark Sky Reserve. And then on distillery exclusive, you will see our little white lockup, and that'll always say the year of distillery exclusive, the ABV, and the exact cask that was used to finish it off. So you'll see it as well on here. This is our 2023. Just different words to mention the cask.
So, silly question, but what's lock-up?
Lock-up, that's just the word that we use for this. We feel it locks up and finalises the label. It's just an internal term. I'm too used to saying it. Guys, what do we think of that Tawny Port cask finish? Yeah? Do we like it? Yeah. Cool. So we'll do a little vote now on favourite whiskey of the night. It's like picking your favourite child. Everyone's got one. Skellig Small Batch. Skellig Small Batch Irish whiskey. The first whiskey you tried. Hands up if you liked that. The very first. What's your favourite whiskey tonight? Skellig Small Batch. Pardon? Did top row first, yeah. Then bottom row, yeah.
So yeah, we can do top row and bottom row and then your overall, right?
Yeah, that's fair, yeah. So top row, Skellig Small Batch. Okay, we got 4 there. Single pot still. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ex-peated cask. Okay. No, vote once, please. Pedro Jimenez Sherry cask finish. Okay, so the winner of the top row is the ex-peated Scotch cask. Finish. Yeah, are you? If you took my job in the morning, I think you're going to put the peated Scotch cask, or this guy here, as the bottled product on shelf, generally available. More peat. So bottom row then, the Battle of Distillery Exclusives 2023 favourite. Oh wow! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Ruby Port cask. Okay. Tawny Port cask. Okay.
Tawny Port is really good.
That's a good comment here. You know, is the Tawny Port the favourite because it came last? No, I do think that personally the Tawny Port cask is a fantastic liquid. And then the winner of the two, so you can only vote once here now. Between peated Scotch cask and Tawny Port cask. Ex-peated Scotch cask. Okay, Tawny Port cask.
Okay, the room has it.
The room has it. The Tawny Port cask is the winner tonight. Thank you very much. You'll find this available online from Skellig 618 Distillery from the 26th of August onwards. So if you really liked it, make sure you buy it. So look, guys, €90.
90 euro.
Again, pricing to sell. Try and price to sell. So look, guys, I will. Sure, we might sort something out. Look, guys, I want to. That's all the whiskey I have. If you have any questions, feel free to come up afterwards and ask them, or shoot them on to the guys to send on to me, or just send to Skellig directly. But I want to thank you for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate your attention. Had some fantastic questions. Really appreciate kind of the debate that you prompt. That's what makes these tastings interesting for me, because otherwise I am just regurgitating the same stuff over and over again. So we can have a little conversation back and forth. That makes this fun, and I hope you all learned something tonight. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Breen, for having me. Really appreciate it.
As a token of our gratitude, I bet you don't have a hip flask.
Oh.
And if you do, you don't have an Irish Whiskey Society branded.
I don't have one like this. Breen, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.